Monday night. It's September 26th, 2022. Episode 306 of the Tan and J-Man Show is live on the air on the ISC Sports Network, as well as live on the Tan and J-Man Show Facebook page and the ISC Sports Network Twitter page. I'm Tanner Lee, along with my co-host Josh the J-Man Month, residing in the state of Illinois. What's going on, J-Man?
Not a whole lot. I definitely feel the Monday upon me. It's a very tiring day for whatever reason.
Yes, very tiring day. I'm there with you. Except I was up late watching a football game. If you want to call it a football game, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was up late doing that. Have you booked your tickets to the Super Bowl yet?
Not yet. I'm gonna wait another week, and then I'll probably book them on Friday.
Just gotta wait to see if you're gonna play the Eagles or the Giants, right?
That's right. Yeah, hopefully the Giants. I think Dolphins match up a little better with the Giants than they do the Eagles.
Think the Giants remain undefeated after tonight, or you think Cowboys get them?
I think Cowboys get them.
I think that's what you had in your picks. I think I had the Giants. So.
Which you annihilated me this week. Your strategy worked. I will give you some props.
It did work, and it worked I'm in a pick'em league. I am every year for money, and I won the week last week, and I won it again this week, and I blew everybody away this week. So my strategy definitely paid off. We'll see if I have a similar strategy this week or not, or if I went back to my roots and my losing ways.
Yeah. I have some birdie bogey for you here. It is baseball related, so good luck.
Oh, I am. Oh boy, that's yeah.
Albert Pujols hit his 700th career homer over the weekend. I think Friday night he hit two of them, 699 and 700. He became the first player ever born outside the U.S. to hit 700. But my question is, he became the second player ever to hit 20 homers in their first season and 20 homers in their last season in MLB history. Who is the other guy to have done this?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Obviously, Hall of Fame level player.
Sure.
Who also did this. But Pujols also had 18 20 home run seasons, which is the third most in Major League Baseball history, only behind Hank Aaron and Barry Bonds. Kind of makes sense. But who's the only other player to hit 20 homers in their first and last seasons of their career? Birdie Bogey brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC for fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce. Bryce and Katie Roman of Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check out their website, noblegnomellc.com. Get your veggies.
Speaking of Noble Gnome, I was thinking today, it's getting colder out. We're getting the fall temperatures because it is fall now, officially fall as of last Thursday. So when I think of fall, I not only think of football, hoodies, jeans, bonfires.
I love it.
But I think of soup, too, especially chili. Good chili, you got to have some vegetables in it.
Gotta.
So you better stock up on some vegetables from from Noble Gnome and make some good chili or whatever other soup you want.
Are you a soup guy?
Yes, I am a soup guy.
I hate soup.
I couldn't remember if you did or not.
Yeah, I hate soup. My fiance is very upset about that fact because she loves soup.
She should be. I mean, do you like chili at least?
Don't like chili.
Man,
I don't like beans. I'm one of the weirdos that don't like beans.
Well, what if it was a beanless chili?
I still, for whatever, I don't like chili dogs.
That's true.
Which I know you're a big proponent of the chili dog.
I am.
But there's just it's not for me.
No.
I'll stick to my pizza, burger, steak, and taco.
I like all those too, but I do like myself some chili and some other soups too. So. But man, what a weekend of football around not only the college football world, but also the NFL world. My gosh, yesterday's early games had a lot of results I don't think a lot of people saw coming, a lot of crazy finishes. Your Dolphins were in one of those crazy finishes. So let's switch it up this week. Let's begin with NFL. We usually begin with college football, but let's get right into the NFL. And I'll let you talk about your 3-0 Miami Dolphins, the only AFC team with a 3-0 record.
The Dolphins are one of my winners going against the, many people thought best team in the NFL, and I still think they're probably the best team in the NFL. Ridiculously good offense, putting up 30-plus points a game. The Dolphins have quite the home field advantage there in Miami, especially in September, where their brand new renovations from 5 or 6 years ago or so, they set it up where the Dolphins are in the shade the entire time, the opposing team is in the sun the entire time, the entire game. And the real feel was over 100 yesterday, and you could see it. Towards the end of the game, I'm just thinking, these guys, both sides are moving so slow. So many guys left with one guy left with a heat-related illness for the Bills. They had cramping issues, all of that. So the Dolphins have built quite the home field advantage there, just with the heat. And the Bills' offense just did not look the same as it has. Now, you got to credit the Dolphins' defense. They did what they had to do, and they stepped up late, forced multiple fourth downs. Allen, of course, picked up a lot of them, but they stopped them short. Got great pass rush, which the Dolphins' pass rush kind of struggled a little bit, but they sacked Josh Allen 4 times, had multiple chances for other opportunities to sack him. They forced a fumble. So the Dolphins' defense played well, but man, the Bills dominated that game. I don't know if you saw any of the numbers from that game, but the Bills absolutely dominated. You look at time of possession, Bills had the ball for 40 minutes. Dolphins had the ball for 19. The Bills had 31 first downs to the Dolphins 15. Bills had 497 total yards of offense to the Dolphins 212. Bills ran 90 offensive plays to the Dolphins 39. Wow. Bills only punted once. Dolphins had to punt 5 times. Difference is Dolphins put the ball in the end zone. Bills could not do it. They had to settle for field goals, missed a field goal. Dolphins forced a turnover deep in Bills territory where the Dolphins took over, I think, at the 6-yard line, and they ended up scoring a touchdown. So opportunistic defense. They were huge. They were really pretty dang good on third down against Josh Allen, made the stops late. When Thomas Morstead kicked the punt off his protectors.
I didn't even know he was a Dolphin yesterday.
I'm glad he is. He's been one of their best offseason pickups. Their punting game's been terrible for years, and he really the safety might have won the Dolphins the game if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, because Dolphins are punting from their own half-yard line. Bills will probably get the ball inside the 50. Should get the ball inside the 50. Now you take the safety, and at first, Trent Green even mentioned it. Do you take the safety here? I'm thinking, no, you don't take the safety. All they need is 3 to win. But then Morstead puts off an absolute booming punt, and they pin the Bills inside their own 25-yard line after the safety, and that's really what won them the game, being pinned that far back. So feel really good about the Dolphins, as I should. That was a game they should not have won. As I said, they got thoroughly dominated. But you know what? Teams that have struggled winning here this century, Dolphins don't win that game very often. The fact that they did, I think, is a very good sign going forward. And I was looking at their schedule, and there's a real good chance I do not pick them to lose until December 18th.
Well, there's a spoiler for our picks later in this episode.
This game this week is probably the only one I could have picked the opposing team, but you look at it, they have the Jets twice, the Browns, Texans, Bears, Lions, Vikings at home, Steelers at home. And then they have a San Francisco team that looked terrible last night. They do have to go to the LA Chargers, but then their next game that I think I'll pick against them is, of course, things can change and they could absolutely flatline, but against the Bills in Buffalo, December 18th. So it's the best I've felt about a Dolphins team in a long time. 3-0 for the first time since, I think, 2013. And that team folded down the stretch. Lost to a terrible Buffalo team, and then at home to Geno Smith when he put up 158.3 passer rating in Miami and kept the Dolphins out of the playoffs. So, Dolphins shouldn't have won. They found a way to do it against the best team in the NFL. So it was a good day.
That's what you got to do to be a playoff team. Win games you're not supposed to. Doesn't have to look pretty. Just get the win. Get the win. Try to get to about 10 wins. You're probably in the playoffs. I want to get your opinion on this whole Tua controversy ordeal that media is kind of hyping up last night, and supposedly NFL PA wants an investigation into it. What was your take on the whole ordeal?
So he was pushed down, and it was a personal foul on the Bills. He hit his head, and then he got up, and he looked a little woozy, and then he stumbled, and I'm thinking, this dude's knocked out. He's gonna, miss the rest of this game, miss Thursday's game against Cincinnati. But then it comes out that he passed all concussion protocol stuff. And it was a back injury, which I remember when the back injury happened because they did a quarterback sneak inside the 1 yard line earlier in the game. Just I think their previous drive, and he got like folded in half, like his legs were behind him, and he was almost folded in half. So I know he had the back injury, but they said today that he was not in concussion protocol at all this week. Now they haven't said he's going to play, and there's doubt that he could play because his back injury is pretty bad. But the fact that he was cleared by doctors, I mean, they can investigate all they want and talk to the doctors. And I'm sure a lot goes back in the day, especially a lot could have been hidden to the naked eye and from the league as far as injuries go. But now there's such strict protocol that it'd be a pretty steep penalty if they kind of did away with that protocol. And so I think they should be in the clear. But when they said it was just a back injury, wasn't even a head injury at all, it was a little fishy.
Yeah, no pun intended with the fishy.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Yeah, we'll see what comes out. I don't think a lot will come out of it. I mean, like you said,
nothing ever does.
Pretty steep fine or penalty if they do. So I don't think they would be that dumb to do that. So.
Yeah.
But definitely a big win for the Dolphins. Exciting finish. Ken Dorsey busted all his equipment up, which I didn't know he was their offense coordinator until yesterday.
Well, Daboll was, and now he's the New York Giants
I'm doing
coach.
well.
But Dorsey is one of the up and comers. And he could be a head coach next year. But that was quite the temper tantrum he threw.
Sure was
up there. Kind of somebody said he still ticked off about the U's loss to Middle Tennessee State on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because you were saying what a home field advantage it is for the Dolphins there. They said didn't help the Hurricanes the other night against the Raiders of Middle Tennessee State. So.
Yeah, people don't go to college games down there. I believe their starting quarterback even said, "I like playing on the road." Tyler Van Dyke.
Yep.
Yeah, I like playing on the road more because we don't have a college atmosphere, and people were ticked off. Well, only have 20,000 people show up. They didn't even have a college atmosphere when they played in the Orange Bowl when they were good. It's just not a college sports town.
And when you say that, though, you better back it up and go play well. And he didn't do that.
Yeah, he was terrible. They got down. I think they turned it over on their first 3 possessions and got down 24-3 or something like that.
Yeah, I thought Crystal Ball had them back. Maybe not just yet. Maybe it's going to take a little longer.
Yeah. Well, they have such a complex with losing right now. They've had such terrible head coaches, and they've lost a lot of games. I think it'll take it a little while to turn that culture around.
Yep. So.
3 winners, 3 losers.
Yeah. One of my winners, I called him out last week. Said, prove me wrong. Indianapolis Colts. Did they deserve to win? Probably not. Chris Jones helped them out with that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty with about 5.5 minutes to go. Gave the Colts the ball back. They go down, score, win the game. And, of course, the Chiefs missed a couple field goals. Travis Kelce drops one in the end zone. But the Colts did what they had to do. They just hunted around, kept fighting, kept scratching, clawing. Got a big win. Now they're 1-1-1 with Tennessee coming into town this weekend. So they're still right in the thick of things. In the AFC South, even though, it's 3 games in, nobody's out of their division race yet. But
Raiders are.
Yeah, they could be. But, yeah, the Colts, good win for them. Proved us both wrong. I think proved most of the NFL world wrong. I thought 5-point spread. I'm like, this is easy cash money for the Chiefs. But it's the world of the NFL. You never know.
I think we both had the Chiefs for 16, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. The Chiefs are actually one of my losers. I think they're missing Tyreek Hill a little more than they want to admit. Offense wasn't really that great the week before either. And then only put up 17 points against the Colts. They just don't have that speed option there. And Mahomes hasn't played that well either. He's my fantasy quarterback, so I can't attest to him not playing that well to start the year. But I think ultimately the Chiefs will be fine. They usually have one blip early. Then they go on some sort of run. I don't know what their schedule looks like, but they should be okay.
Yeah, I think they will be okay. And I did not put them in one of my losers because I figured you probably would. But Mahomes and Bieniemy getting into it a little bit before halftime. And did you see Shady McCoy today? come out and said all Bieniemy does is yell and argue with players. He knows nothing about football or play calling.
No wonder he hasn't gotten a head coaching job.
And nobody ever talks about his background. I mean, he's got some I don't want to say shady background, but he's got some troubled background. So.
Some pretty bad trouble too.
Yeah,
that
so
people
I
aren't
think
even talking about.
I mean, there's a reason. The NFL teams have done their research and enough work. There's a reason he hasn't got a job yet.
Yeah, and Mahomes, being the good guy he is and good leader he is, says that it was all on him. It was his fault why he and Bieniemy got into it. But that was kind of ugly walking into the tunnel, which they've won a lot of ball games. They haven't had to see that, but who knows what Bieniemy's like behind closed doors. Maybe his true self came out.
Who's a winner for you?
Besides the Miami Dolphins, Philadelphia Eagles, they look like the best team in the NFC.
They're making our 13-4 record, a 14-3 record, pretty good so far.
Yeah, they had 9 sacks.
They're
yesterday.
my fantasy defense, so I thank them for that. Even though I got beat, I'm gonna get beat. So.
They have a great defense. They have great running game. Jalen Hurts might be the early MVP candidate right now, leading MVP candidate. The Washington Commanders are awful.
They're
one
not
of the worst
good at
teams. But Carson Wentz, for what he has to be part of the problem why he's getting sacked so much, because he did it in Philadelphia. He's been sacked 9 times in a game twice now. He must just hold on to the ball forever. But still, Eagles look awfully impressive.
Yeah, their defense is flying around the ball. I still can name you too many of their defensive players, but
trading for A.J. Brown has changed that offense too. Add Devontae Smith with him. It's pretty high flying offense.
Yeah, they're fun to watch, and I don't usually say that about an NFC East team very often.
Right.
So. Another one of my winners, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Me too.
Going to what I would say is the least hostile home environment in the NFL when the Chargers are playing there, especially in LA. But they not only beat the Chargers, they whooped them. Whooped up on them. Got up early, never took their foot off them. Most improved team in the league so far through 3 games.
Yeah. And maybe Urban Meyer just did so much damage that the talented roster couldn't, or the talented young. It was a very young roster. Rookie quarterback Trevor Lawrence has looked great so far under Doug Peterson. They're actually letting James Robinson carry the ball where Urban benched him last year. The culture Urban built there was awful, and it was pretty evident. And I think Doug Peterson's been a huge hire for him. And we thought the Peterson hire was fantastic to begin with because he adds credibility to a young roster. But Lawrence is playing well. They're running the ball well. We made a lot of people made fun of the Christian Kirk signing in the offseason. He's been one of the better receivers in the AFC so far.
I ripped on that one. Yeah.
It was a lot of money, but he's balling out so far. Jags, absolutely. They might be right now, I call them the best team in the AFC South.
Oh, I think you have to. I mean, they did spend about, over $300 million in free agents. Like I said, got a good veteran coach who became the 5th all-time winningest head coach in Jaguars history, tying Urban Meyer.
2 wins.
But, yeah, that was impressive. And as a Broncos fan, I like to see that. I like to see the Chargers go down. And they're one of my losers, actually, the Chargers, because you just can't have that. We were talking in our group yesterday. Herbert, while he's a very, very good quarterback, everyone already wants to call him elite, doesn't do a lot of winning for an elite quarterback. And I know it's not all his fault, but
they've had a lot of talent there, and something's off. It seems like they always have terrible injury issues.
Always.
He has a fantastic wide receiver duo, one of the best in the league, in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Defense is good, Joey Bosa, and they have a couple secondary guys, but something's off. I don't know if it's coaching or what, but Chargers can't be losing at home by 4 touchdowns to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Herbert, maybe he's just not a winner. Maybe he's a guy that puts up really good numbers, and he made an unbelievable throw yesterday. I don't know if you saw that, where he was going the opposite way and threw across his body, just an absolute dime. So he has all the physical tools, but they just don't win. It's weird.
And their left tackle Slater's out for the year. Bosa's week to week. They got a couple other guys banged up. They better be careful, especially with the left tackle. They better protect Herbert because he's playing with some rib issues.
Yeah.
He goes down for a significant amount of time. Write them off. They're done.
Yep. He had the same procedure before the game yesterday as Tyrod Taylor did. That pretty much ended. It didn't end Tyrod's career because he was with Houston last year, but it's the reason why Herbert got his shot there in LA. So I know a lot of people were nervous about that one, but I think it'll be okay.
Have you done all 3 of your winners? You have one more.
Nope, I have all of them. Dolphins, Eagles, Jags.
My last one, and everybody can laugh at me about it, but it's the Denver Broncos. Because
they'll laugh at you about
it. That's a game they absolutely do not win the last 4 years because they couldn't win close games. I mean, if they were trailing at halftime, they were done. Didn't matter what the point differential was, and it was an absolutely ugly football game. The only second NFL game in history to end in a score of 11-10. The other was Steelers over the then San Diego Chargers in 2008. But they put a drive together when they really needed it late in the fourth quarter, and then the defense just played great all night. Now, Jimmy G is not a very good quarterback. Didn't look like it last night, at least. But the credit to Denver's defense, they shut Samuel down and Kittle. Mm-hmm. You take those 2 guys away, then San Francisco, who usually relies on their run game, has to run the ball well. They were averaging 180 yards per game coming into last night, didn't even get 100. So, Denver's defense won them the game, and the offense has to click hopefully sometime soon. But I kind of thought it was going to be a work in progress, but I didn't think it would be like this.
Right, and maybe that last touchdown drive kind of gets them going a little bit.
Maybe. Something's off.
Russ hasn't looked that great so far.
Hasn't. He missed about 5 or 6 throws yesterday he normally makes. His chemistry looks there with Sutton, but that's about it. Looks off with everybody else.
Yeah, and I think Hackett's play calling's been abysmal so far. Even that final drive, Russ had to make some plays, but you just saw even that final drive, they had it to try to win it, and they ran it 3 times. Mm-hmm. You gave up so many picks and $250 million or whatever for Russ Wilson. You don't even throw it once to try to win the game. It didn't make much sense to me. It gave the Niners a chance at least. And then of course they fumbled. But
I thought for sure Niners could go down and kick a field goal to win. Yeah. I was about ready to guarantee it with 2 minutes left, but found a way to get it done.
Yeah. The Dolphins own the Niners first round pick, so I'm okay if the Niners continue to lose.
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting. I had a laugh on Football Night in America last night. Matthew Berry was the only guy to pick the Broncos. Everybody else picked the Niners to win. And Niners were favorites going into the game last night by a point and a half, 2 points, depending on what line you was
their defense was awesome as well. I mean, it was the same as Denver, pretty much.
Yeah, it was a defensive battle, and
definitely
wasn't easy for anybody out there. Credit to the punters; they both played pretty well. So, yeah.
One of my losers, Detroit Lions.
Mine too.
Had a chance to go to 2-1. They were up 10 in the fourth quarter in Minnesota. They don't win too many road games, let alone divisional road games, the Lions, and they just let it slip away as the Detroit Lions do. Could have been 2-1, feeling pretty good about themselves. I thought they looked pretty good. And then what they do is they just find a way to lose.
Yep. I'm glad they lost because the Vikings were part of my 6-leg parlay that I won yesterday. But I thought, the Lions are going to ruin it for me because I took the Vikings just money line. I didn't put on the spread. And like I said, the Lions offense looked good for a while, but it's just in the culture.
Yep.
It's in their culture, and I just don't know if it's ever going to change.
Yep. My last loser, the Tampa Bay Bucks. Their defense played great, holding Aaron Rodgers to 14, but they only scored 12. And that's been an issue. And honestly, the first 3 weeks, their offenses look horrendous. I don't know if Brady missing 3 weeks of training camp. I know he's going to be missing every Wednesday for a veteran rest day is what they're calling it.
He doesn't look like he's having fun.
He doesn't, and I don't know why he came back. I know his there's been many rumors his wife was really unhappy about him coming back. Don't know why he came back. He doesn't look happy at all. I think he misses Gronk too. He's kind of his buddy there, and they don't have, and of course Mike Evans missed yesterday. Chris Godwin's been out.
That's true.
So he's having to throw to the corpse of Cole Beasley, which it's not going well.
Do you think he could have came back just to spite Adam Schefter, being mad that Schefter broke the news before he could do it himself?
That seems like a very Tom Brady thing to do. I don't think the Bucs are a very good football team, though. Bruce Arians no longer the head coach, but he's still there. It's
Right.
it's a weird dynamic. He actually is the one that kind of instigated the fight last week.
Yeah, how would you like to be Todd Bowles? You're trying to coach, but yet the guy who was a coach and won the Super Bowl, one of two coaches ever to do that in Tampa Bay history, is right there in the shadows.
Yeah, Bowles have been put in some bad situations in his head coaching career.
Yeah.
This one, and then just having to coach the New York Jets put you in a bad spot to begin with.
That division stinks, the NFC South.
It's terrible.
And that's my third loser, New Orleans Saints.
Well, they're awful.
I didn't think they were going to be that great, but my goodness, I didn't think they were going to be this bad. Jameis is not good.
Yeah. It might be. I mean, Dennis Allen's their head coach. I'm sure they might give him a little more time than the Raiders did.
1
back
year.
in the day, but they need a quarterback. I know they were flirting with Deshaun there for a little while before he was traded to Cleveland, but might be getting to the time of the season where you're like, maybe we should start losing some games here and get a top 5 pick, get CJ Stroud or Bryce Love or what? Bryce Love? Is that his name? Is it Love? Not Love.
Bryce
Young. Bryce Young.
Yeah, Bryce Love was a running back
Stanford.
for Stanford a couple years ago.
I thought I screwed that one up.
Sounded right, but Saints stink. The NFC South stinks.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some pick 'em.
Tanner beat me this week. It was a long time coming for him. First time in, I think, a calendar year that you beat me.
Oh, it's been a long time. I couldn't let you win every week this season. I had to do something to get back in the race.
Yeah. Starting Thursday night, we have a really good one here. Miami at Cincinnati.
I see the Cincinnati Bengals are wearing their all whites, so that's going to be an interesting color combination of jerseys against each other this week. I don't know why, Jay, man. I know they just beat the Jets, but I'm taking the Bengals at home. I feel like if the Bengals don't get this one,
they need it.
I don't know if you can trust them to win big games.
Yeah. Dolphins.
3 points. 3 points for the Bengals.
I'm trying to think the last time the Dolphins won there. I don't. They played a Thursday night game there a few years ago, and they got beat handily. If Tua doesn't play, they have zero shot because Bridgewater ran 3 plays yesterday, got sacked, about threw a pick 6, and spiked the ball into the ground. It didn't go well for him. But I'm assuming Tua plays. Taking Miami for 7.
All right.
I think the Dolphins' pass rush will be too much, and I think Burrow will be hit all game long. So give me the Dolphins for 7. Minnesota versus the New Orleans Saints in London.
I just said Saints are awful. I think the Vikings got much needed win yesterday because they lost that game. It's like, okay, what's going on in Minnesota? I think Minnesota wins this one pretty easily. Give me the Vikings for 10.
I have the Vikings for 12. It is a nationally televised game. It's NFL Network, but nationally, if you will, televised game, which Kirk does not play very well in.
It's a good point.
Give me the Vikings for 12. I think the Saints are awful. Cleveland Browns at the Atlanta Falcons coming off a win.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, the Falcons got a win at Seattle. Seattle's awful. I'm still so embarrassed that Denver lost that game. They should be 3-0 right now. Cleveland's 2-1. One of the better stories in NFL with Jacoby Brissett right now. I think Cleveland goes 3-1. I got them going into Atlanta getting the win, but only for 2 points.
I have Cleveland for 4. I think they go in there as well. It's funny you say Broncos could be 3-0. I've never seen a team on such a large spectrum where they could be 3-0 or 0-3.
True.
Yet they're somehow right in the middle at 2-1.
And they're tied for the division right now.
Yeah.
2-1.
Yeah. Give me Cleveland for 4. Washington Commanders at the Dallas Cowboys.
Commanders stink.
Terrible.
Cowboys, I always, and I know I say this almost every week, I hate picking the team that plays on Monday night because we haven't seen them play yet. But with that said, I think the Commanders are so bad. I'm taking the Cowboys for 16.
I have Cowboys for 11. So Cooper Rush, he's had some decent. Who'd they beat last week?
They beat
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, yeah.
The Cincinnati Bengals. Dallas for 11. I don't think Dallas is that great, but their schedule's kind of setting up to be okay until Dak comes back. Seattle Seahawks at the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I kind of made my feelings about Seattle known. Tough loss for Detroit, but I think they bounce back. Lions for 12.
I have the Lions for 3. I'm not as confident as you are. Lions looked pretty good the first 2 weeks and then just choked yesterday. Lions for 3. Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts.
Big win for the Titans yesterday over the Raiders. Raiders are finding ways to lose games. They kind of get behind, come storming back. Or this is what they did yesterday, and then can't close the deal. Now, the week before, they were up big, then let the Cardinals come back. Colts, we said, surprising win over the Chiefs. It would be a Colts-like thing to lose this game, but I think they're going to get it done. Colts for 7.
I have the Colts for 1. I don't think yesterday's win against the Chiefs really changed my mind on them. Their defense played well, but I just thought the Chiefs found a way to lose that one.
Special teams blunders helped the Colts too.
Yep. The Chiefs are really missing Butker too.
Oh yeah,
their kicking game's been terrible. Chicago Bears at the New York Giants.
Yeah, the Bears 2-1.
Worst 2-1 team in the history of any sport.
And the Giants are going to be 2-1 or 3-0 for this matchup.
Yeah, they're not
interesting.
Much
better. Justin Fields might not be the guy there.
He's not.
It's probably going to be who's going to be playing quarterback for the Bears next year. That's going to be the big question. I know he doesn't have a ton around him, but he just not looking the part. Bears 2-1, like I said, but give me the Giants for 5.
I have the Giants for 6. Justin Fields' completion percentage this year, I believe, is under 50% for the entire year. They don't throw it that much to begin with. He's obviously really athletic and can run, but he's not an NFL caliber quarterback, and that's just the reality of the situation there. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Philadelphia Eagles.
One of the more intriguing games on the slate. And I wouldn't have said that 3 weeks ago. But,
Doug Peterson going back.
Oh, that's a good point. Didn't think about that. I like the way the Jags are playing, but unlike LA when the Chargers are playing, this is a very hostile environment going into Philly. Give me the Eagles for 4.
I have the Eagles for 15.
Oh my gosh. I might have to root for Jaguars then.
I'm a believer in this Philadelphia Eagles team. I'm a believer in Jalen Hurts now. He's completely turned it around for me.
You just like the Alabama quarterbacks.
I just think, I just think be too much for Jacksonville there. New York Jets at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, 2 teams not going anywhere. I think Steelers, you can write them off after Thursday night's performance. Mitch Trubisky's not their guy. They might as well put Pickett in, see what he can do the rest of the year. They won't, but they should. Flacco's just holding down the fort till Zach Wilson gets back, but that's not going to matter either. Give me Pittsburgh at home for 9.
I have Pittsburgh for 14. Trubisky's bad. That Thursday night game, he looked so bad. Defense is still pretty good. But you can't hand it off to Najee Harris 90 times. You got to be able to throw the ball, and they can't. So, probably the game of the weekend here: Buffalo Bills at the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, Bills have like a murderer's row schedule coming up.
Yeah.
Baltimore looked good against New England yesterday. Defense looked good. Picking off Mac Jones a couple times, coming up with some key turnovers and key moments.
Mac Jones is terrible. He's a bad NFL quarterback.
Yeah, he is regressing big time. Lamar's Lamar. He's pretty phenomenal. I'm taking the Ravens for 1.
I think the Bills bounce back. They'll get some of their key secondary pieces back. I know Micah Hyde's out for majority of the season on the injured list. Give me the Bills for 2. That's a true coin flip game in my opinion.
Yep.
LA Chargers at the Houston Texans. Man, if the Chargers lose this one.
Yeah, Texans stink. I'm mad I didn't put more on this game than I did looking at it, but the Chargers are a little banged up. I have the Chargers for 11.
I have the Chargers for 10. That's kind of a wash. Arizona Cardinals at the Carolina Panthers.
Tough one to pick here. Panthers, good win against the Saints yesterday. Cardinals hung in there with the Rams, but couldn't get done. That's another team that needs to get healthy. I think the Cardinals are just more talented than the Panthers. Give me the Cardinals for 8.
The Arizona or Kyler Murray, I should say, is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. But I think
I don't know too many people rating him anymore.
That's a good point. I mean, he made a lot of money, though. Just signed a huge contract. Arizona Cardinals for 13. I just think Carolina's terrible. New England Patriots at the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, Packers Bucks was a good game, but not the game we all thought it was going to be,
terrible.
really. I mean, it was a good game as far as close.
Yeah.
And came down to the wire with an exciting finish with going for 2 and not getting it by Tampa Bay. But I don't think New England's good.
They're terrible.
Green Bay's tough to beat at home. Give me Green Bay for 13.
Mac Jones, likely not going to play. He has a severe high ankle sprain. I don't even know who their backup is. It's still
either Hoyer or Bailey Zeppe, the Western Kentucky.
Bailey Zapp, yeah.
Zeppe, yeah.
It's probably. I assume it'd be Hoyer if he doesn't play.
36-year-old Hoyer.
Doesn't matter. Green Bay for 16. Denver Broncos at the Vegas Raiders.
This game scares me. Broncos 2-1. Raiders are 0-3, but Raiders have their backs in a corner, and that's always scary when you're going to play a team like that. Raiders have had the Broncos number the last few years. A lot of storylines will be around this game just because it's Josh McDaniels. Yeah. He's a head coach again in the NFL. He's not a good one, but he's a head coach again in the NFL. Supposedly Mark Davis already met with him behind closed doors before the post-game press conference, which I think Mark Davis is part of the problem. He fires coaches after a year or two.
It's that haircut, too.
But with that said, I'm a Bronco fan. They're 2-1. I can't pick the Raiders against them, even though this game scares me. And I don't know if Renfro's going to be back or not. I got Denver for 6.
Raiders are due. Denver's offenses look terrible. I have the Raiders for 9. It seems like Denver can't win in Vegas. Have they won there since they moved there?
No, I think they've only played there, twice?
Yeah, that's a good point. Raiders for 9. And I picked that game before last night, before the Denver win last night, and it really didn't do a whole lot to change my mind, to be honest.
I hope you're eating crow next week.
You too. I hope you are too.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
Kansas City Chiefs at the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah, if this game is played in Tampa, we'll see. Tampa's going to get a big-time hurricane here this week.
Yeah, they are using the Dolphins facilities this week.
So the game could be shifted to Miami?
It could be in Miami. Yeah. It's a Sunday nighter, too. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's not going to matter either way. I think Kansas City bounces back. I think they're pissed off. Give me the Chiefs for 14.
I have the Chiefs for 8. I think Chiefs bounce back. You don't see them lose 2 in a row very often. But you don't see Tom Brady lose 2 in a row very often either.
Sure.
But I just think the Chiefs are quite a bit better. LA Rams at the San Francisco 49ers, Monday nighter.
Yeah, Niners, good defense. Offense not that good, especially if they can't get the run game going. They kind of proved that last night. Back-to-back Monday nighters for San Francisco. You don't see that very often. I think the Rams are just a better overall team. Give me the Rams for 15.
I have the Rams for 5. Again, did these picks before last night's game. And if I would have waited, I would have had the Rams for probably double digits. But I still think Rams beat them. I think it'll be a closer game because I don't think the Rams have looked overly impressive either.
They haven't.
Far. A little bit of a Super Bowl hangover.
Most of the league hasn't looked overly impressive. That's the thing. And we're seeing, like the Broncos and a few other teams, a lot of teams that didn't play their guys in the preseason, we're seeing an effect on that.
That's fair.
I know you and I don't like the preseason, but there's a reason they have those games. You got to play the guys a little bit to knock rust off.
Yeah, a little bit. And I mean, they took away a 4th preseason game anyway.
Right.
But yeah, you got to play them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Any other NFL thoughts?
Not that I can think of. It should be another fun slate of games.
I have very much enjoyed this football season.
Your team's 3-0.
That helps. But also, my baseball team's terrible. But I don't know. I've just been into this football season more than previous years.
It's been a lot of good games.
Yeah. Since the start of last season, the Bills are 0-6 in games decided by 8 points or fewer. They're the only other winless team in one-score games over that span is the Houston Texans.
Oh, wow.
4 major professional sports teams played a game in Denver yesterday. Order by score, the Padres scored 13, the Broncos 11, Niners 10, and Rockies 6. Let's see. What else have I favorited in my tweeter? I think that is about it for NFL stuff.
Yeah, it was a fun week 3, and week 4 looks on paper to be another fun week.
Absolutely. Do you have word association?
I do. It is college football related.
Beautiful.
Let me bring the read for the word association segment up while I'm doing this. I went through, and it's Big Ten related even. So I went through and I picked one coach for each school in our lifetime. That's coached in our lifetime. Some of these guys we've talked about on the podcast. Others, I'm not so sure if we have. I'm going to go alphabetical order, starting with the Illinois Fighting Illini. Ron Zook with a career record of 34-51 at Illinois.
Best coach they've had in a long time. Bielema was the best coach they've had since probably the 80s. But the Zook man, great recruiter. He obviously went to a Rose Bowl, and they got absolutely whooped by John David Booty and USC.
Oh, there's a name I haven't thought of in a while.
Could recruit. His time ended poorly there. They started out 6-0, got up to, I think, 15th or so in the country in 2011, lost out. And he was fired, and they haven't really recovered since.
Iowa Hawkeyes, it's Kirk Ferentz. It's their current coach. He's 288 and 178.
Chomping that gum. Can't figure out his quarterback position, at least this year. My uncle, who's a huge Iowa Hawkeye fan, says Kirk has no idea how to use the transfer portal. So that's been kind of an issue. And maybe it's because he's an older guy. I don't know. But, yeah, Kirk, probably the best coach in Iowa football history. I know Hayden Fry had some good years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people are tired of his dinosaur offense, him and his sons.
Yep.
But Indiana Hoosiers, Kevin Wilson went 18 and 38.
He, great offensive mind. I think he was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, wasn't he?
That's where he came from, yep.
That's where he came from.
Then he went to Ohio State to be their OC afterwards.
Yeah, he had some allegations against him, much like Tim Beckman did. They're very similar in a sense. So didn't go well for Kevin Wilson. Indiana's not a football school, obviously, but he didn't win as much as they thought he was going to.
Maryland, Randy Edsall went 22 and 34 in his time there in Indianapolis.
He was best coach in UConn football history and also the worst coach in UConn football history. Had some good years in the mid to late 2000s. Went to Maryland, came back to UConn, and was just abysmal at UConn. Made a lot of money losing football games, too.
It's not going good at UConn for Jim Mora Jr. so far.
I didn't even know he's at UConn. That's how far he's fallen. Huh?
Yeah, but Edsall led, like you said, UConn to a BCS game against Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I forget which bowl, but they lost. And then when he went back after Maryland, things didn't go so well.
Yep.
Normally they don't if it's a second go-around unless you're Bill Snyder.
Yeah.
Michigan, Rich Rodriguez. His record surprised me, 37 and 15.
Yeah, he had a terrible. I think first year he was there, they went 3-9. He wasn't a very likable guy to begin with. Obviously, fantastic offenses at West Virginia. Had good offenses at Michigan as well, but
in Arizona even.
And Arizona, yeah. I don't know where he is now. I think he's in OC somewhere. But he just for whatever reason, the Michigan people did not like him. There's good reason why they didn't like him, but. Yeah, great head coach at West Virginia with Pat White and those guys.
He is the head coach at Jacksonville State University.
Really? Yeah, there he goes.
Yes, Rich Rod followed Lloyd Carr's footstep.
That doesn't help.
Filled his shoes. That didn't help. And then Brady Hoke, who came after him, went 51 and 31. Then he was fired. So,
yep, I think
tough place to coach.
Unfortunately, Harbaugh has them rolling now.
Yes,
took him a while, but.
Michigan State, John L. Smith went 22 and 26.
I will never forget when University of Illinois signed a great recruiting class in 2008. John L. Smith publicly accused Illinois of cheating. He was a disaster at Michigan State. I think he was at Arkansas as well. Mm-hmm. He was a terrible football coach.
I remember he had a classic halftime speech when they used to the announcers were interviewing him and going to half. I forget if it was Michigan State or Arkansas. But our players are playing their tails off and the coaches are screwing it up. Minnesota Golden Gophers, Glenn Mason went 64 and 57.
I think is he still a Big Ten Network guy? He was.
He was. I'm not sure if he still is.
I don't really remember. Was he there during the Eric Decker years or was it before then? I don't even really remember him.
I think he was a little before. They might have overlapped a little bit. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, those Minnesota teams are pretty average. I mean, they would make bowls but never really contend for anything. Nebraska, Bill Callahan went 27 and 22 there.
Former Raiders head man. I think he's the one that lost the Super Bowl with the Raiders, wasn't he?
Yep.
Wasn't good at Nebraska. Nebraska's still bad. I mean, he was really the first guy when he took over. It's like, maybe Nebraska's not going to be as good anymore. It was kind of the start of their bad 15-year stretch or so.
Well, Bo Bellini came after him and did pretty
He
good.
was pretty good.
But then
Yeah,
they thought grass was greener on the other side and bit them. Yep. Northwestern, Dennis Green, one of the worst coaches in Big Ten history, record of 10-45.
You want to crown him? Crown him! Yeah, he's more known for his legendary speech after blowing a 20-point lead to the Bears on Monday night when he was with the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, Darrell Hazel went 9-33, but Denny Green had a few more games under his belt, 10-45. The Ohio State University, Jim Tressel.
Tattoos. It's unfortunate that that's the first thing you think of.
He was 94-22 there.
Yeah, he was an amazing head coach. Sweater vest, wore the sweater vest, had some unbelievable teams, won national title there. He just had played in a few as well, or coached in a couple more after they beat Miami. The one thing I think of is the tattoo gate.
Mm-hmm. Penn State, Bill O'Brien, short stint there, but went 15-9.
I lost a lot of respect for Bill O'Brien when he was on Hard Knocks. He just seemed like a very unlikable guy. He is mentioned as a candidate for the Nebraska job. I think his time to be a head coach in college is coming again because he's been at Alabama. I think he's at Alabama as their offensive coordinator, I want to say. He was at Alabama anyway. He took over for a legend, Joe Paterno, and he made him respectable again during that whole terrible scandal.
Yeah, he left them only after 2 years. They were supposed to be on 4-year probation. Actually, they got off after 2 years, I believe it was, and then James Franklin came in after that. So
yeah, Bill deserves a lot of credit for not letting that program implode in on itself.
Yeah. 15-9 was pretty spectacular with everything considered. Purdue Boilermakers, Danny Hope went 22-27.
Danny. I always want to put a cat in one of them things. Yeah. Oh, Danny.
He was a character. To say that.
Mustache.
I always felt like everybody was kind of against him. I mean, he didn't have a good relationship with the media, didn't have good support. I mean, at the time he was the least paid head coach in Big Ten, and so was the staff. So everything was kind of against him. But he would beat teams once in a while he wasn't supposed to beat, but often he'd lose to teams they shouldn't have lost to.
Yeah, he was a pretty likable guy.
He was.
Like he seemed. I mean, you worked for him essentially when you were a manager. So
loved his players. Players loved him. He was a players coach. But I mean, it was. I still think they could have gave him one more year. Definitely with how things panned out. But
ended up
is what it is. Two more here. Rutgers. Kyle Flood went 27-24.
He was over 500 there, huh? Seemed like he was terrible. Or who am I? I'm thinking of Chris Ash.
Yeah, he was after Flood.
Kyle Flood. I vaguely remember Kyle Flood. Did he take over right after Schiano?
Yeah, and then he left them, I believe. I don't think he got fired. Maybe he did, but he left to be the assistant of the Falcons. And he's still in the NFL somewhere as assistant today.
Didn't know that.
I think he left. I don't think he got fired, but maybe he did. But they'd be stupid if they fired him after going 27-24 with the history of that program.
Yeah.
Lastly, Wisconsin, Gary Anderson, who went 19-7 in a short stint in Madison.
Yeah, I don't know if he just left because he couldn't handle the pressure and he wanted to go to Oregon State. Maybe he's more of a Northwest guy. He's terrible at Oregon State. Great at Utah State. I believe he was there. But yeah, not a coach that really scared you a whole lot at Wisconsin.
No, but he was doing good, and Paul Chryst took over for him. So, I mean, Alvarez, the Bielema, the Anderson, the Chryst. So,
yeah.
And that's going to do it for the Word Association segment, which is brought to you by Proforma Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Proforma Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815.
Do you want to get educated here real quick before we hit on some college football? On this day in 1961, Roger Maris hit home run number 60, which tied Babe Ruth's record. Aaron Judge, the rest of the year, will be trying to tie and break Roger Maris's American League record.
I think he'll do it.
Oh, yeah. This is the last full week. There's about 10 or so games left. Should do it. LA Dodgers shortstop Maury Wills, who just passed away this past week, became first player in MLB history to steal 100 bases. He was a fast one. On this day in 1984, 5,000 people showed up to see the Phillies play the New York Mets at Shea Stadium.
Wolf.
On this day in 1987, former Cub and Padres Benito Santiago set a rookie hitting streak record of 28 games. In 1993, on this day, the Cubs bat out of order against the Pirates in the second inning. Just trash franchise. On this day in 1996, San Francisco Giant Barry Bonds is the second player to hit 40 homers and steal 40 bases.
Pretty good.
1997, also known steroid guy, Seattle Mariner Ken Griffey Jr. hit his 56th homer of the 1997 season. And that is gonna do it. There wasn't a whole lot in the 2000s. There's only 3 of them in the 2000s.
Not a lot of stuff happened on September 26th. Yep. But that's the On This Day segment, which is brought to you by Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated custom woodcraft shop based out of North Carolina with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs to fit your needs. From signs to grow charts, their custom pieces make a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. To see some of their recently completed projects, visit at Mooney Woodcrafts on Instagram and Facebook. And for custom orders, contact them at mooneywoodcrafts@gmail.com.
College football. I honestly didn't get to watch a whole lot of college football. We were out taste testing late night snack sliders for a wedding, so I was in heaven.
Sounds like a pretty good day.
I was in heaven. It was a really good day.
I was down in West Lafayette doing something I've never really done before a game too often, especially a homecoming game because it was Purdue's 100th homecoming. Just spent the day around campus.
Nice.
Walked around with my girlfriend and some of her relatives, and we, it was just fun sightseeing around campus. And campus was a beautiful day in West Lafayette. And
was a lot
of
nice
people
day
out and
Saturday.
about. That's what I love about college football Saturdays. Everybody's out and about a lot more than college basketball Saturdays when it's 2 degrees out,
freezing.
Beautiful weather, fun day. Game was so. I mean, Purdue pulled it out.
They won. That's all that matters.
Just like the Broncos, burn the tape. Never talk about it again.
Never talk about it.
Let's go on. But they need to get healthy. They were missing 6 starters and 2 other key guys in their rotation. I mean, they're down 8 guys right now, and their best player, their quarterback. It's not easy to win without your starting quarterback when you got the talent level that Purdue does. And hats off to Austin Burton. I thought for his first career start at Purdue, and only his second career start of his career, he played a pretty good game beside one mistake. So he's just not the same quarterback Aiden O'Connell is. But they got the win, like I said, beats the alternative. Notre Dame went on the road, got a big win at North Carolina. Indiana slipped up for their first loss of the year at Cincinnati. Minnesota looks like the real deal in the West, or not blanking because they scored late, but
killing
smacking Michigan State at Michigan State. Yeah. Ohio State might be the best team in the country.
I agree.
They flexed up on Wisconsin at home.
Especially after Georgia gave up 22 points to Kent State.
Yeah, they only won by 17. They were 45-point favorites. Tennessee's the real deal. I hate to say it. They might be legit contenders. They got LSU next week. And then, because they have a bye week this week, then Bama the week after that. We'll see how real they are after those 2 games. But, Miami went down. USC almost went down. A&M, Arkansas had a crazy finish in Jerry's World where the ball bounces off the top of the upright.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Oklahoma goes down to Adrian Martinez and Kansas State. So a lot of craziness going on.
Kansas is undefeated. If they had the same resume as an SEC school, they'd be ranked 7th in the country or something like that.
Yeah, they're 26th. They should be ranked. It's
which is crazy. Lance Leopold for coach of the century.
Yeah, they better try. I know they gave him an extension, but they better try to lock him down. Somebody's got to throw a lot of money at him.
Texas lost again in overtime to Texas Tech. Maryland hung with Michigan, but Michigan hung on. Clemson Wake might have been the game of the year so far. Clemson won in double overtime, 51-45. Did you see the ending of the Auburn-Missouri game?
No.
Missouri missed. So they're playing. Yeah, so Missouri's terrible. If Auburn loses this one, there were reports that Brian Harsin at Auburn was going to be fired.
Yeah.
Barely into his second season there. And Auburn's up 3. Missouri's running in for a touchdown. The guy reaches out the ball, he was going to score easily. He just dropped it and it went out of the end zone for a touchback and Missouri loses. So Brian Harsin gets to stay for another week. Classic Missouri. But other than that, it's always a good day of football on college football Saturdays.
Always fun.
Big Ten pick'em. I won this week. I only missed 1 point, and that was Northwestern. Northwestern was garbage.
They and Colorado are the two worst Power 5 programs going.
Yeah, who just fired their coach? Georgia Tech fired their coach, Jeff Collins. He was terrible. I think Colorado's guy's next. Carl Durrell, I think his name is. Michigan at Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa has won 5 of their last 6 games at home against AP top 5 ranked teams. That one loss was a 2-point loss to Penn State in 2017. I think this Michigan team is too good. It's not going to happen like it did in 2016 when Michigan, last time they played up there, and Iowa knocked them off when they ranked top 5. Give me Michigan for 5.
I have Michigan for 5 as well. Illinois at Wisconsin.
I think this will be a good game. Only reason I'm picking the Badgers is because they're at home. Give me Wisconsin, but only for 2.
I have Wisconsin for 3. I think Illinois is legitimately okay. They should be 4-0. They're not. But they have a good run game. I think their defense is fantastic. Haven't given up a touchdown at home all season.
But Wisconsin's going to be mad. So.
Wisconsin's going to be mad, and they're just going to key on the run. However, Tommy DeVito there at Illinois is the best quarterback they've had since Nathan Shieldhouse, I think. He was fantastic on Thursday night. He's going to have to throw it a lot more and actually have success throwing it against a good team. But, yeah, Wisconsin for 3. It's shocking that Illinois is only single-point favorites. I think they're or single-digit favorites, I should say. I think it's 8, which it's usually like 20 when they go to Wisconsin. Purdue at Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota's dominated Purdue as of late. Flex won 4 of the first 5 against Braum, and Minnesota's won I don't remember what. It's a stupid stat going back 11 the last, or not even the last 10 since 2012, something dumb. I mean, something, because Purdue used to just dominate them under Joe Tiller, but times have changed. I don't know the stats of Aiden O'Connell. They said it'd be figured out later in practice this week. Suppose he hurt himself in the first quarter of that Syracuse game.
Really?
And played through the rest of the game. I'm going to say he's not going to go. And even if he did, I was going to pick Minnesota just because until Purdue beats Minnesota, it's kind of like them with Wisconsin. Give me Minnesota for 4.
I have Minnesota for 4 as well. I think Minnesota's the real deal. I think if O'Connell plays, though, I think it'll be a really good game. Could be a coin flip.
It would be one of those that if O'Connell plays, it wouldn't shock me if Purdue goes and wins, because that's kind of what Jeff Brom's teams do on the road. So
it is. Rutgers at Ohio State.
Ohio State for 6.
I have Ohio State for 7. Northwestern at Penn State.
Penn State for 7.
I have Penn State for 6. Michigan State at Maryland.
I don't know what to think of Sparty, but for some reason I think they're going to bounce back, but I only got them for a point.
I have Maryland for 2.
I don't know why. I don't know why. If they don't win this, maybe they're just not that good.
I don't know if Tua's little brother, Talia, I think his name is hurt, but he didn't play a lot in the second half or fourth quarter at least. So I don't know. If he doesn't play, Michigan State might win. But give me Maryland for 2. Indiana at Nebraska.
Night game. Nebraska coming off a bye. That's why I think they get it done. An extra week of preparation. Nebraska for 3.
I have Nebraska for 1. They shouldn't have any issue with them, but
let's pick some top 25 games. Let's do Birdie or Bogey real quick because we're running out of time for our TV audience.
Albert Pujols became the second player ever to hit 20 homers in his first season in Major League Baseball and his last season. Who is the other guy?
I'm more worried about trying to figure out who did their rookie year. I can't think. Frank Thomas?
That's a really good guess, but incorrect. Teddy Ballgame, Ted Williams.
Oh, man, I wasn't even going back that far. Yeah, good. Yeah, I should have known. Ted, we talk about him more than anybody on this podcast.
Talk about him a lot.
I know Frank had some decent years for Toronto and Oakland at the very end.
Yeah.
So
Bonds, his final year only had I think 53 plate appearances or something like that and hit 3 homers.
Yeah.
Whatever. But Birdie Bogey brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC. As I said, I've already said that.
You were ready to go through it.
This episode is brought to you by the Damn Landing, whether an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, hand bread, tenderloin, seafood, craft beer, or a handcrafted cocktail. Damn Landing is the place to be. The Damn Landing is a bar and grill located on beautiful Lake Manitou, focused on freshness and quality. You can wash down their delicious food with one of their 16 beers on tap, including a constant rotation of today's best microbrews and domestic flavors. Handcrafted cocktail made using fresh ingredients, taking the fantastic views of Lake Manitou on their beer garden or outdoor bar area. Whether it be boats or wheels, the Dame Lane is a place to be, located 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester. I still have to do a book it as well. A lot of top 25 matchups here. I'll just do the top 25 matchups if you're okay with that.
Yeah, we got time. We're off TV, but we got time.
Number 7, Kentucky at number 14, Ole Miss.
Yeah, Kentucky played danger with Northern Illinois for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about Ole Miss this year, but Ole Miss at home. Oxford that's right. Oxford, Mississippi is where they play, right?
Yes.
It gets rocking on game days. Give me the Lane Train. Give me the Rebels.
Give me Ole Miss. They are favored by 6.5 at home. Number 2, Alabama at number 20, Arkansas.
Alabama.
Yeah, they're 17-point favorites. I agree. Number 9, Oklahoma State at number 16, Baylor. Baylor's 2.5-point faves.
Give me the Cowboys on the road.
Give me Baylor at home.
I think the Big 12. I don't think anybody's bad in the Big 12 this year.
Probably not, especially with Kansas being halfway decent. Kansas really State knocked off Oklahoma.
I really think every team's pretty decent. So,
number 22, Wake Forest at number 23, Florida State.
Give me the Seminoles.
Give me Wake Forest on the road. I don't like Florida State.
I know. I just think they're starting to turn the right direction again.
Number 10, NC State at number 5, Clemson.
I really want to take NC State, but I can't do it. I think Clemson's just better.
This will be the J-Man's bucket prediction of the week. Give me NC State on the road. 4-0. They're in the top 10 for the first time.
Statement win.
Ever. That'd be a definite statement win for NC State. J-Man's Book Prediction of the Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watchering for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watchering@infb.com. That'll do it for all the top 25 matchups.
And Notre Dame's on a bye week, so we don't have to.
Are they? I always forget about Notre Dame because they're an independent and they are unranked. So
I haven't watched them much this year. They play next week. They play a neutral site against BYU. I was looking at their schedule, Josh. They just played at Wake Forest. They have 2 true road games left on their schedule. 2. They play 3 true road games this year. That's all.
That's pathetic.
Because Navy they play neutral. And they don't play on. They hardly play on the road.
That's pathetic.
And I mean, I'm gonna bring up their schedule real quick because I was thinking it was tougher coming up than it really is.
BYU will be tough.
BYU will be tough. They have BYU on October 8th, and they're ranked 19th. Then they host Stanford. That's a win.
Yeah, Stanford's terrible.
Then they host UNLV. That's a win.
That's a win. Then
they travel to Syracuse, who's 4-0, but I'm still not a believer in.
They found a way to win against Virginia.
I know. They keep finding ways to win close games. Yep. Kudos to them. Then they host Clemson.
Loss.
Then they play Navy. Game. Then they host Boston College.
They're terrible.
Then they go to USC.
They might be okay. 8-4 or so.
What I predicted at the start of the year.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Tan and J-Man Show. Have a fantastic week, everybody. We'll be back at it next Monday.